Well, I am absolutely thrilled to be here from Melbourne, Australia. Before I start, I'd like to pay my respects to the traditional owners on the lands where I am coming from. It's beautiful Wurundjeri land. I'd like to pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. It's been a big day here today because we had the launch of our new National Diabetes Strategy, which is a 10-year strategy developed by an expert group. It's a government document that was launched this morning by our Federal Health Minister. We had our last diabetes strategy that I think was a 5-year document. So to have a 10-year document is really interesting. And it's also going to be really interesting to see how that is measured, I guess, over that 10-year period. There are 7 goals in this document, and I promise I'm not going to read the whole document to you because it is hundreds of pages long, but I do just want to pick up on a couple of things. One of the goals is to prevent people developing type 2 diabetes. There's also a goal around promotion of awareness and early detection of types 1 and 2 diabetes, reducing the burden of diabetes and its complications and improving quality of life, which is wonderful to see that there is a quality of life component in there. There's also a goal around pre-existing diabetes and gestational diabetes in pregnancy, reducing the impact of diabetes among other priority groups, strengthening prevention and care through research, evidence and data. Again, so great to see research in there. And also a very strong focus on reducing the impact of diabetes among First Nations people. We know that, I think it is really important to acknowledge that the outcomes for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, we have one of the highest rates of diabetes amongst those communities. So it is really important that we have dedicated strategies that look at addressing how to improve outcomes for our First Nations people. We still do have some restrictions around Australia at the moment. We can't travel interstate freely as yet. And so what we're seeing this year, as we did last year, is we're not having large events and large gatherings in person. There certainly have been some online events. We usually have monuments lit up, and we still do have that happening, but when that happens there's usually lots of people around. We run our Diabetes Australia Research Trust award ceremonies in some of the states here, but unfortunately we're still quite limited with that. So I think what we're seeing probably is that there is more online activity. I'm just really impressed to see that there are so many diabetes advocates who are really lifting their game, I guess, this year and really highlighting, what's going on in their communities and in their networks. But I guess, what I'm thrilled to be seeing and why I'm so happy to be part of this particular event is because there is a focus here on access. And I feel that considering that has been the International Diabetes Federation's focus, it's terrific when I'm seeing people actually really acknowledging that and talking about what access means. It means different things to different people. But one of the things that I'm especially proud of at Diabetes Australia is that we have highlighted organisations like Life for a Child and Insulin for Life and spoken about why their work is so important and encourage people, if they can, to make donations. We are very, very fortunate here in Australia with so many things. That doesn't mean that we have access to everything we need. It doesn't mean that access is simple for everybody. It doesn't mean that diabetes is a walk in the park for everybody. We still have challenges, but I think it is really important to acknowledge that there are people in under-resourced countries, and in countries like Australia, there are people in disadvantaged communities. Diabetes does disproportionately affect people who are disadvantaged. That is the way throughout the world. So to be focusing and looking at how we can support people in those situations is really important. So Bastian, stellar job, I guess, focusing on access with this event. I'm so proud to be part of it. So thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for staying up so late from Australia, from Melbourne. That was Renza Scibilia. Thank you very much.